Hi everyone, in this video we're going to talk about the matrix element. I've already added one to my frame and this is what it looks like. So when you click on it, you see all of our normal object properties, and that video will be linked in the top corner here. You can also see the name of the object. I've named this matrix A, and we have these new options here where you can lock the object so it won't be moved if, let's say, you're clicking around on the frame somewhere else. That object is now locked in place. You can unlock it by clicking again. You can also hide that object from view if, let's say, you're adding a couple layers of elements and you're going to dynamically change their visibility, but it's kind of getting in the way during your editing. You can hide that object here, and then just click that eye again to unhide it. So we've got the normal object properties. Scrolling down, we can see the special properties of the matrix element. Something cool we can do here, we can randomize the item order, which means these items here will appear in random order. So if you're not doing a scale from, for example, totally agree to totally disagree, and you want to randomize these options, you can. If you are randomizing, we do recommend that you link this order to an array, which just means that you will have a saved data output of the order that these appeared in for each participant. As usual, you can show or hide the question header here if, for example, you have something else that explains what the participant is supposed to do. Scrolling down further, you can also increase or decrease the number of choices, and when you increase or decrease the choices, you can decide where they should be added to. So what it's going to do by default is it's going to insert choices starting from the right. So your new choices will appear over here on the right side and at the bottom if you have multiple questions. Which brings me to right here. This is where you can add a number of questions. So let's say you add a second question. You're prompted to create a new variable name. I'll call this matrix B. Because for each matrix, even though they're appearing in the same matrix object, as you can see I have matrix A, as the object name, they're both going to have different linked variables. So each of these options that gets selected by the participant is its own variable. You can also choose to make any or all of these, or none of them, required. And that just means that the participant cannot move on in your study until they have chosen an answer to the question. So you see the linked variables here. They are by default going to be saved as numbers, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. But essentially, the first option in your matrix is number 1, moving to whatever the last number is. So in this case, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So make sure you write down what your options are. And that's also why we have this link order to array. That way, if you are randomizing, when you see the number 4, you can see exactly which option corresponded to 4. Finally, you can change your left and right ratios and your outer margins. So this just changes the size a little bit of how things look for your matrix. Moving forward, I have a little snapshot here of what the data export looks like for a matrix object. So this is what I was talking about a little bit ago. What's going to happen is each question in your matrix, so for this example, I'm just showing matrix A, you see that the recorded variable is 1. That means that my participant selected the first option in the matrix. And that's how they're all going to appear. Each individual matrix is going to have its own column of whatever number the participant selected. So that is a quick overview of the matrix element. As usual, they are responsive to events. You can build an event to where once the participant selects an answer, the experiment moves on, or maybe something else appears, whatever you'd like to do. So these are great options for surveys, your normal questionnaires, or even just to get people's opinions on how your experiment went. I hope this video was helpful.